Okay, so here we are. We're printing our way through the D&D monster manual. We're finding some cool 3D printable monsters. We're showcasing the amazing work of the creators and their creativity in bringing some of these monsters to life. If you want some background as to what it is exactly that we're doing, the link to the setup video is in the description. But we are ready to go with our first monster, and that is the Aarakocra. So let's head over to my mini factory and see what we can find. So just to, if you haven't watched the first video, I'm looking for the coolest monsters, and obviously that's very subjective. My style, I really prefer, or I really like monsters or models that have a more realistic style and that have some kind of dynamic action, whether they're posed ready for battle or threatening or whatever. So anything that looks like kind of a creature in the setting about to attack. And so there are a couple here on my mini factory that I want to take a look at, and then we can see what we decide. So first there's these by Goonmaster. It's $8 for these 3 models. These are a little more of a cartoon style, and so would not necessarily be my top choice. There's these by Epic Miniatures. Again, $9 for 3 models, which is a pretty good deal. This one has a cool pose. I don't know how that would actually print. And then this one's sitting on top of a shape. So yeah, very, very cool detail. Would probably not be my first choice. All right, now these by White Werewolf. Now these are $18 for 6 different models. And so that's $3 a piece, which is basically what the last ones were. And so that's a bit much to pay for any one model, but when you get 3 different poses here, and all of them are really kind of dynamic and dramatic, and so I really like these. It says they're pre-supported, they're 32 millimeters, which is what we're doing, and so yeah, I do like these. And then there's this one from TPK Lab. Again, it's a little more of a cartoonish style, not really the detail that I'm looking for. And so I think we're going to go with these ones from White Werewolf. All right, let's head on. Let's make a purchase and head on over to the printer and see what we get. All right, so these guys are all printed up. I downloaded all 6 of them. You may remember there were 6 models. I ended up printing 4 of them. They came out about this size. Well, they came out this size, not about this size. They are this size. Printed 4 of them, and I'm going to drop 3 of them on the turntable, and we can take a look and see what we think. So, as I said, I printed 4 of them. I put 3 of them on the turntable. One of them had a very, very, very dramatic pose, and it was so close to being unbalanced that you looked at it the wrong way and the whole thing would just fall over. And so I did not put that on the turntable, but these models I thought really came out looking good. Especially, we're very early in this process. I'm very new to this hobby, and so the level of detail that you're able to get with the feathers, with their armor, with the weapons. I mean, you can see the eyes, you can see the feather on their faces. Really, really well done. The poses are very dramatic. One thing you should know about this particular set is they do come in pieces. So the base is one piece. Each wing is a separate piece. The torso, well, sometimes the hands with the weapon are a separate piece. Torso may be a separate piece. And so there is a little bit of assembly that goes along with these. But if you're patient and you have steady hands, they look really cool. All right, so again, here's one kind of printed out, life size. Let's take a look at how it kind of compares size-wise to what would be a standard human model. So this model that we're looking at here, this is Johnny Trinity. He comes from Loot. He's part of the Loot Welcome Pack. And so he is just about 32 millimeters from his feet to his eyes. And so this is kind of a good representation of what the scale would be for these models. Again, they are fantastic. They printed well. Supports came off with no issues whatsoever. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way that these came out. In terms of printing and how much resources these required, they were $18 for 6 models. Again, I think that's a really, really good price. We did print these with a couple of others. We used 20.7 grams of resin, which means our total is 20.7. They took 3 hours and 12 minutes. I definitely recommend these. A great addition to the table. I love the fact that you get 6 of them in 6 different poses, and all of the poses are pretty cool. And so it really is a good value for what you get. All right, that's it for the Aarakocra. Next up, we have the Aboleth.